There's a task sitting in front of you right now. You know exactly what it is. You've known for days, and yet you haven't moved. Not because you can't, not because you don't care, but because some part of you, deep, quiet, certain, has stopped believing that doing it will change anything at all. That's not laziness. That's something much more specific. And once you understand what it actually is, you'll never see yourself the same way again. Most people who call themselves lazy have a hidden history, a project they worked on for months that went nowhere, a relationship they poured themselves into that quietly fell apart, a version of themselves they tried very hard to become and then stopped trying. Somewhere along the way, effort stopped feeling like a door. It started feeling like a wall. And your brain, which is extraordinarily good at learning, learned exactly that lesson. Psychologists have a name for this. Martin Seligman discovered it in the late 1960s. He called it learned helplessness. In his original research, subjects who experienced repeated, uncontrollable outcomes eventually stopped trying to escape them, even when escape became possible. The brain didn't become weak, it became logical. It updated its model of the world. Effort and outcome are no longer connected, and so it conserved energy. It went quiet. It did what any intelligent system does when the feedback stops making sense. It stopped sending signals. What looks like laziness from the outside is the brain running a perfectly rational cost-benefit analysis and arriving at a very painful conclusion. Why try? Here is what that means for you. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are not fundamentally less than other people who seem to move through life with effortless momentum. You are a person whose brain formed a belief based on real evidence from real experiences. Your nervous system is not malfunctioning. It is protecting you from the specific kind of pain that comes from trying hard and feeling like it meant nothing. That is not a character flaw. That is a survival response. The question is not, what's wrong with me? The question is, what did I learn? And can I teach my brain something new? Your brain runs on something called dopamine. Most people think dopamine is about pleasure. It isn't, not exactly. Neuroscientist Kent Burridge made the distinction clearly. Dopamine is about wanting, not liking. It's the chemical of anticipation, of forward motion, of believing that something good is on the other side of your effort. When your brain believes the effort will matter, dopamine flows. You feel pulled toward the task. You feel momentum before you even begin. But when the brain has learned through experience that outcomes are unpredictable or absent or painful, the dopamine signal weakens. The wanting disappears. Not because you've stopped caring about your life, but because the brain's reward prediction system has quietly filed a report that says, this isn't worth predicting anymore. Think of it like a compass that's been spun too many times. It doesn't point north because it's broken. It points north when it finds a stable magnetic field again. You don't need more willpower. You need to rebuild the field. So, how do you do that? How do you convince a cautious brain to start believing again? Not with force, not with a motivational speech, with something quieter, something the brain actually responds to. Principle 1. Make the outcome visible before you begin. Psychologists call this implementation intention. You don't say, I'll try to do this. You say, when it is 9 a.m. and I sit in this chair, I will open this document and write one sentence. Specificity creates a neural pathway. Vague intentions dissolve. Concrete ones land. The brain doesn't need inspiration. It needs coordinates. Principle 2. Shrink the task until it's almost embarrassing. B.J. Fogg's research on behavior design shows us that motivation is not the engine of behavior. Ease is. Your brain is not going to leap across a canyon, but it will take one small step towards the edge. Write one line. Open the app for 60 seconds. Send one message. Not because small things don't matter, but because small things rebuild the connection between effort and outcome. Each tiny completion tells the brain that worked. Let's note that. And slowly, very slowly, the compass begins to turn. Principle 3. Separate your identity from your output. Psychologist Carol Dweck spent decades studying what happens when people believe their ability is fixed. They stop trying when things get hard, because failure doesn't mean this was difficult. It means I am not enough. The brain treats identity threats the same way it treats physical threats. It freezes, it retreats, it avoids. When you tell yourself, I am a lazy person, you are not describing yourself. You are issuing a command to a nervous system that is always listening. Instead, try this. My brain is in a low belief state right now. That's a condition, not a verdict. Conditions can change. Principle 4. Create evidence intentionally. The brain updates its beliefs through experience, not argument. You cannot think your way out of learned helplessness. You have to do your way out. One small, repeatable action at a time. Keep a record of what you finish, even if it's small, especially if it's small. Neuroscientist Tali Sharot's research on optimism shows that the brain is not naturally hopeful. It becomes hopeful when it has data to support hope. Give it the data. Principle 5. Rest without guilt, deliberately. Rest is not failure, but true rest, intentional, bounded, guilt-free, allows the prefrontal cortex to recover. It allows the nervous system to down-regulate. It is part of the work. Schedule it like you would any task. Tell your brain, this is recovery. It is purposeful, and mean it. Integration. Here is the one model to hold on to. Your brain is not your enemy. It is a learning machine that got taught a hard lesson, that effort doesn't always pay off, that trying can mean losing, that hoping is dangerous, and it responded the way any intelligent system would. It protected you, but protection has a cost, and the cost was momentum. The cost was belief. The cost was you, sitting still in a room, wondering why you can't seem to move. You don't fix this by pushing harder. You fix this by rebuilding the evidence that moving is worth it. One small action, one kept promise to yourself, one moment where effort and outcome touched each other again. That's how the compass finds north. Not all at once, but surely. You have not lost yourself. You have been managing something heavy for longer than most people know. The brain that went quiet on you is the same brain that is reading these words right now. Still searching, still asking, still here. That matters. It always did.